Hello everyone. A very good afternoon to one and all present. Today's topic of mine would be a case presentation. So without further ado, I would be starting off my case presentation. So I had a 63-year-old male patient who had come to my outpatient department. He had chief complaints of pain on right side of the neck since the past 5 years. In the history of present illness, the patient complained of pain on over the right side of the neck. It was dull aching type, sometimes radiating downwards till the shoulder. The pain aggravated on movements of the neck, especially bending the neck backwards and on turning the head towards one side. The patient felt relief after taking rest, limiting the movements of his neck and with a few medications. The patient is a truck driver by occupation since the past 25 years, and he used to drive for almost 6 to 8 hours for about 5 to 6 days in a week. There was no history of tingling or numbness, nor was there any history of pain radiating towards the right upper limb. There was no history of any trauma or injury to the neck. There was no history of any headache or pain in the eye, no history of redness of the eye, watering of the eye, swelling of the eyelids or face, no history of nasal discharge or congestion. Furthermore, there were no triggers like for headache, how we have like loud noise, bright lights, etc. No history of double vision, dizziness. The patient reported NRS of 8 on 10. There was no history of similar neck pain or headache in the family. Coming to its treatment history, the patient used to take etoricoxib and thiocolchicoside BD for about a week, and he did not have satisfactory pain relief from this treatment. The patient had undergone multiple physiotherapy sessions but reported not much of relief. Coming to his medical history, the patient is a known hypertensive in the past 10 years and on tablet amlodipine 5 milligrams OD. There was no history of diabetes or hypothyroidism. Moving ahead to the examination, on inspection, the skin over the head and neck region was normal. There was no wasting of muscles or obvious deformity, no swelling, scars or ulcers. The shoulder symmetry was normal. Coming over to palpation, there was tenderness over the cervical facet joints on the right side. There were no muscle trigger points, nor was there any palpable cervical lymph nodes or thyroid swelling. In the range of motion, there was a bit of restriction of movements. Lateral bending, extension especially were limited with the pain. Moving ahead to the special test, Jackson's compression test was positive. Sperling's maneuver was negative. The shoulder abduction or relief sign was negative. Neck distraction test was negative. Moving ahead to the neurological examination, higher mental functions like memory, concentration, speech, orientation were all normal. Moving ahead to the cranial nerve examination, first nerve, there was olfactory nerve, normal smell sensation. Then second, optic nerve, the pupil size, shape, symmetry were all normal. Visual acuity was normal. Third, fourth and sixth nerves, ocular movements were normal. Pupillary light reflex was normal. Coming to the fifth nerve, the trigeminal nerve, forehead, cheek sensations were all normal. Muscles of mastications, the motor power was adequate. Corneal reflex and jaw jerk, both were normal. Coming to the facial nerve, the facial movements were normal. Hearing was normal. Eighth nerve, ninth and 10th, gag reflex was normal. The spinal accessory, shoulder shrug, turning head from side to side were all normal. Lastly, the hypoglossal nerve, tongue movements were all normal. Moving ahead to the sensory examination, it was normal. Motor examination, the motor muscles had a grade of 515. Moving ahead towards the reflexes, the biceps, supination, triceps were all normal. Babinski's test was negative. Knee reflex and ankle reflex were all intact. Moving ahead to the systemic examination, cardiovascular system, heart sounds were normal, no murmurs. Respiratory system, normal, vesicular breath sounds were heard. Abdomen was soft with no organomegaly. The patient had a few investigations when he had come along. The complete blood count was there, which was totally normal. He had already got an MRI done, and these are the MRI pictures. Now with this, the investigations, I thought to further move ahead with another investigation, which I thought was appropriate, which was the diagnostic block. So first, since the patient had maximum tenderness over the cervical facet joints, I visualized the cervical facet joints under fluoroscopy and found out that maximum tenderness was over the right C4-5 cervical facet joints on palpation. I did a diagnostic cervical medial branch block of the right C4-5 facet joint with 0.3 ml of lignocaine 1%, and the patient reported 80% of relief. So with this, I made a diagnosis of right cervical facet joint arthropathy of the C4, C5 level. And after a day, I planned the patient for a radiofrequency ablation of the middle branches. A radiofrequency ablation of the middle branches of right cervical C4-5 facet joint was done. And this patient was followed up after 6 months, and he has been continuing to have good pain relief. Thank you very much.
A few questions, Mr. Khan. So basically, anything you planned your intervention based on the symptoms. So apart from that, anything else? Anything was there in the examination which, apart, you talked about tenderness, any movement related pain was there which pointed towards that we are having a facetogenic pathology?
So yes, sir. On examination, there was, on palpation, the patient had tenderness, right paramedian tenderness, and on movements, especially movements like lateral bending and extension, the patient was having pain, and there was a bit of limitation in the movements as well, which were pointing a bit towards the cervical facet involved.
What could have been, and I think that in that others can also contribute, what could have been the other probable provisional diagnosis that you can think about? Yeah. No, I think it was not related to movement. Forward flexion was causing the pain.
No, not forward flexion, backward extension and lateral
extension
bending
was causing the pain. Yeah. Anything else anybody can think of? Angst-Pont, but I think he talks about unilateral thing. So Angst-Ponts generally would be bilateral. Yeah. Like fine. So joint inflammation, right? So yeah. Why didn't you go for an intra-articular facet, just for the discussion? Why you planned for a median branch block rather than you could have gone and simply given a facet joint injection? So why?
Sir, the reason I chose a medial branch block is because the intra-articular injections are they are a bit more risky intervention, and since it does carry a bit more of complications and it has a negative recommendation as well. So the cervical medial branch blocks are a bit simple, and for a beginner, it is a bit better to attempt doing a cervical medial branch block than an intra-articular cervical facet.
I totally agree. Ma'am, can you answer why? Why is there a negative recommendation for that? No. Anybody else?
Thank you. Actually, I don't stand to make any question. I want to say a big thank you. His history was so excellently, he presented his case. It was very conclusive to get a diagnosis because of this. And I will not say anything about it. It was very nice presentation, simple presentation. His history was diagnostic. But I have one question actually. What could be the reason the patient developed unilateral neck pain at cervical 4 and 5 level? But I have one answer. It could be due to posture. It could be due to posture. Strain over the cervical 4 and 5 region, and repeated flexion or extension could be the reason over the pressure over the area. It could be reason. Do you have any explanation? What could be the reason? You mentioned clearly he was a truck driver.
Yes.
You can link it.
So the patient who had come to me, I had mentioned in the history, he's been a truck driver since the past 15-20 years. And truck drivers, when they are there, they have to keep their neck in a certain position and they keep driving for long hours, and it is subjected to a lot of shear and stress, and the facet joints are very much affected during this.
Okay. Coming back to her question. So can anybody explain that why we are not comfortable giving facets in the cervical region? Anybody in the house? Yeah, this was for the beginners, ma'am. Yeah.
Cause of risk of puncturing vertebral artery.
In close proximity to the artery, that is one of the reasons. That is also was one of the reasons why we stopped giving transforaminal. Sorry.
Another point which doctor, your history was very good, but in cervical, I mean, when somebody says I have got pain in the neck, my guard is up, I always ask how, try to assess the patient's psychology. Any stressors, you know, does he have any anxieties during his job? Like, so your driver definitely must be having some anxiety, and we must get into the details of his, mental pressure. So they are prone, people who have psychological factors, they are prone to have cervical early. And probably I would have given him a trial of some self exercises or physiotherapy or some painkillers before, jumping into.
That was
I think
tried.
more relevant in this is history. It was a perfect history. That it was a unilateral pain.
Yeah.
So if it was like a stress induced, it
Generally-
would have been a bilateral pain.
And
If it was a myofascial pain syndrome, it would have been more of a, that could also be unilateral, but there was no radiation of pain. So I think it was a perfect history, confirmed with a perfect C4-5 diagnostic block and diagnose and management. A good example.
Thank you.
That's why you are a rising star in pain
Thank
medicine.
you so much.
Thank you so much. Any other questions? I think we can move to the next speaker. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank
At the outset, thank you so much, Sadhu. Thank you so much. Yes, yes. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Before Dr. Reenu, please. Just one more thing, if you allow. Why only C4, C5? Why not one above, one below? Just asking. This is
Sir,
for my own.
when I was doing the fluoroscopy, I
You can
found
come
out.
down. She can come. We can save some time. Yeah, please.
So when I was doing the fluoroscopy, when I was examining the patient, because on palpation usually we will not be able to know which exact point. So I examined on fluoroscopy on table, and I saw which facet had the maximum tenderness. So C4-5 facet had the maximum tenderness.
Now, this is again. She can. This is again an example of doing a proper diagnostic. He felt for it rather than. On a more practical front, people even for sometimes we also try to get we go one up, one down, sab karke dekhte hain. So I think that was the best way of doing a diagnostic block. Yes. So enter, sir.